The calmer you are, the clearer you think. Let your decisions come from a place of peace, not from reaction. We live in a world today where we're overstimulated by social media, by our phones, by people, by things to do. Especially if you live in a place like New York City. You're just overstimulated all the time. Instagram, TikTok, all these apps have us going at a pace where like we wouldn't experience all this in our present environment, for example, where we'll be more like, here and now rather than in 355 different situations in the matter of 10 minutes. We see all these videos, we scroll endlessly. There's no end to it unless you realize it, obviously. And it's definitely a blockage for us in a way because not only do we overstimulate ourselves, we put ourselves in a position where we can't sit and do nothing. We can't experience boredom anymore. The moment we feel bored is the moment we pick up some sort of stimulation, whether we know it or not. And it's almost like you have to train your body. You have to it becomes an animal. You have to literally train your body to sit still and not move. And it's going to want to get up. It's going to say, oh, I have to do this. It's going to think all these things that are not really important. Like, it might seem important to the mind because the mind doesn't want to sit alone and face and have you face it. You know what I mean? Like, if you sit there by yourself in a chair in presence and you're just aware of how uncomfortable your mind is, you'll start to create a gap where you realize that you're not really the one that's bored. You're the one experiencing boredom. Like, your mind will project this feeling of like, what are we doing? We're wasting time. What is this for? It'll think of a million things to do. I feel like cutting out all these things that don't uplift us and that make us consumers is really important. Because we weren't put into this world to consume. We were put in this world to create. We create our thoughts. We create our experiences. We create our emotions. We create what we want to do. We create our possibilities. We create our everyday life. We're literally creators. We create every second of every day. Every thought you think could be measured to being positive or negative. Not necessarily for the sake of it literally being positive or negative, because there is no, negative and positive, but thinking makes it so. But your body has a certain reaction to negative thoughts and it has a certain reaction to positive thoughts. It's almost like the Joe Dispenza quote where he says, if your body can make you sick, can your body make you well? And that's the case. And I feel like we have all these layers that are blocking us from our true self, that we really don't have the patience to just sit and not think, not do anything, and just be with ourselves, face ourselves. And then a few weeks pass by, months pass by, and we look back and we're like, man, like, I don't even, like, things are just moving so fast, and you feel kind of disconnected from life if all you're doing is just working and consuming. You don't have that light inside of you that shows you that what you're doing, it's okay, and it's a part of your evolution. It's part of your process. I feel like social media really influences us to view the world in so many different ways. We might have the best day possible when we're not in social media, right? And then we see somebody, they're like on a trip, or they bought a new house or a new car, or just anything that has to do with being more to the public. You end up judging yourself. You're like, you could be in a state of peace and then you go and see that, and then the mind goes on a rant. It says, what are you doing? You're meditating? You're falling behind. You're not going to be there when you're not going to be in the same stage they're at because you're over here meditating, doing nothing. You're not going to... It thinks about all these things, and what seems to weakness... What seems like weakness to the mind is actually strength to our soul. Our ego sees everything that has to do with letting go of material things or being confrontational or, even letting somebody be right. What does it matter, We put ourselves in these situations and we don't really ask ourselves, what are my values? What is important to me, We just consume, we just consume, right? And then we consume other people's ideas about ourselves. And we consume what careers we want. We just sit with yourself and no matter how boring it is, just know you're doing it for yourself. This life is precious. To realize that you have to let go of your mind. Your mind will tell you this moment is not what I want. This moment is not what I need. I need to be here. I need to be there. And then when you're there, you're in another present moment. And where you're going to be? You're going to be quote unquote happy, fulfilled. Not to mention it, that's why certain people that become successful turn into they get depressed. Because it's like, what is really the goals in life after you got all the money you need, That's what everybody aims for. You talk to anybody, I need more money. When I have $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million, I'll be good. But they don't realize is that when you have all of that, what's left? You still have a life to live. You might do whatever you want, but you already completed the game. Like, you know what I mean? In your eyes and in the world's eyes, you completed the game. You made it. But that's not the case. That's just, I guess, a part of life, That's not the full picture. That's why there is a space and an object. Meaning that there's a spiritual side to things and that there's a physical side. You might have everything you need on the physical side, but do you have everything you need on your spiritual side? Which one comes first? Were you a physical being before this? Or are you consciousness within everybody? It gets really, deep when once you start asking questions like, who am I and what are my values? Like, am I going to stop consuming so much? Maybe this is what's making me sad, When you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to start producing something, I don't care what it is. Doesn't matter if you start posting YouTube videos and nobody sees them. What if it impacts one person and it changes their life forever? It's just about what you're willing to do today, right now. Accept yourself as you are with all your faults and weaknesses and let them go. Know that they're not a part of who you are. They're just latched onto you by your consciousness. Yes, that's what you're conscious of being. Just as how you could be conscious of being rich, being poor, being wealthy, being healthy. Just train yourself to let go of the concepts you have of yourself and start doing one positive act. Or not one positive act, but, try to live your life in a positive way. Like, if you feel like you need to create something, do it. If you feel like you need to be nicer to someone, do it. Take those little steps, because eventually those steps turn into, bigger steps, and they lead to other paths, and then you see things different. You understand that maybe I could flow with life instead of resisting it,